from Mexico. Genesis. Not doing an inward. She's going for this will be sort of the harder dives we've seen. One of the harder dives we'll see in this event. Forward 2.5 pike. Needing a good hurdle landing on the end of the board with good timing. We've talked about that in some of the other events. Now they only have to do 3 dives in this. So they're going to choose their best groups and angle, but it was a little close. And when you're coming out right at the board, those feet can be close to the board. She flexes her feet a little bit to avoid it. Wasn't actually close enough to hit the board, seeing on the replay, but only scores a 5.5-6. Now we do have the benefit line of sight. We can see the judges putting up their scores. But Genesis qualified 10th for the final. You're going to want to do dives for 7s or better if you want to move up in the standings. The water, so you can open up a hole for yourself and make that special rip sound as your hands you're palming the water as you go in.
And also very important to note, it does really hurt your head if you're not protecting that water entry with your hands, but we do see it more often on 1 meter where they might not grab their hands because it is definitely less painful.
Genesis with her second dive. Lower degree of difficulty, just a simple twisting dive, back 1.5 with a half twist. Dives they're confident in, regardless of the degree of difficulty. She puts on a nice little entry here. Also, like Courtney just mentioning, not quite getting her hands perfectly. You can get away with that a little bit more on 1 meter, as the water is not as, you're not having quite the same impact. The larger the
feature on our screen up here, which actually tells us how many points they'll need to slip into certain positions, which we really enjoy using on the final round.
And Genesis from Mexico, inward 1.5 pike. She had a low DD dive in the last round, goes back up to a 2.4, and a comfortable inward 1.5. Jump a little higher, spin a little faster to give that impression that the dive was easy. That looked a little bit forced from Genesis. That won't move her up much. Genesis was in 10th, moves to 2nd for the time being with 295.